most of women here, they want to get college degree and all that, and then after that, they want to get married.
True.
I mean,
The more you stay in college, the more you stay studying, the value depreciate.
Why is that? Why is that?
Well, because
Some hot water, didn't you, huh? Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host, Ali. Welcome to BTN and my co-host.
Wajdi, and welcome to BTN. Today our segment, and we have a couple of guests,
My name is Hiba.
Hiba
Yeah.
and Heidi, Omar, and Mr. Suleiman.
Finally got him here. Finally got him here.
So Suleiman essentially claims Sudanese and what else?
Sudanese, bro.
and what? Sudanese, okay.
He said just Sudanese, bro.
I don't want to get caught in Matarang Khartoum.
So our topic today, we're going to be talking about marriage. And marriage is not just for those who are 40 and up, but those who are 25 and up, Sudanese people in America or Western world in general. The topic, it's more of like, why is young Sudanese ladies are not getting married in the Western world versus Sudanese men going back to Sudan, choosing a wife or a spouse, and coming back, do the paperwork, and do the whole process that could take up to 2 years. Meanwhile, we have bachelors, beautiful young ladies in America, Europe, Canada, etc., that are more than eligible for marriage. So majority of the people have expressed that the women have a high standard and walls that they built here in America or the Western world in general. And someone have mentioned that women in the Western world are a little bit more masculine. They have a masculine energy and not much of a feminine energy. And so we brought two guests to speak from their perspective so that they can shine the light on why do we have this problem and how can we solve this problem. And I'll go ahead and
I mean, we also brought two nice gentlemen here too, kind of.
two bachelors.
Two bachelors.
No, one of them actually.
Oh,
One of them actually is going to be on the hot topic today. He went back and got engaged. So some questions going to be hitting directly that
he's
way.
definitely gonna be in the hot seat.
Yes,
He's
yes.
definitely gonna
To
be in the hot
answer
seat.
some of this question, why he chose that versus here, and you have to suppress that. So, but we start with the ladies first. We start with this invisible wall that other men sees, and we're not able to explain it. And we're hoping that they can be able to explain this wall to us. Does this wall exist? Is this just in our eyes only? Or are you guys approachable? Are you guys not approachable in the Western world? What's going on, Hiba?
Okay, yeah, I'll start. So regarding the wall, I do think it exists, not at the fault of women in America or the Sudanese women in America. I think it is not the fault of the men either. It's just the perspective that they think of the women. I think they want the traditional Sudanese girl coming back from home. But for example, I've been here for over 20 years, all my life basically, and I did not grow up in Sudan, so I don't know the taqlid, the hayat al-Sudaniya. I don't understand it as much as like somebody that did grow up in Sudan. And I know a lot of people did grow up here too, like men, of course. So I just think, yeah, that's what it is. I just think they want the perspective of, they want somebody like their mother, but they are not taking into perspective, like, you grew up here too. You know you've changed. You're not like the Sudanese man in Sudan. And that's what they want.
But we are always drawn to those traditional henna and the other traditional Sudanese stuff that women do. So is that become, and honestly, that also an issue for older women to do in America, because older women too, they have jobs, other responsibility, kids. So they're not really 100% there with the tradition, but they are like 80%, I would say it's maybe 60 at max. So, but with you guys being young and not used to it in the first place, and then you're not going to be able to uphold it for the man that want to see it.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Heidi?
I don't know. My perspective is a little different. I went back. I stayed for like almost a little bit more than 2 years in Sudan. يعني before I went, I used to think لا I can never get married young. لازم أقرأ ولازم أشتغل لأسس حياتي وبعدين أفكر في الحياة دي. But like now, I came back and I have a totally different.
You just want to get married and settle?
Yeah, definitely, but not like that. يعني there is like a wall, like you definitely said. But I think the things that we ask for are not.
They're not as high standards as they think. It's things that we're doing.
So what is the things that makes men here in America thinks there's too much to ask for? But a man as a Sudanese man in America or anywhere else, by the way, in the world, doesn't matter how much they grow. I mean, I can't really say that. The one that really born here and grow up here, they change a little bit. So they might not ask for the same thing, but they also not really engage with Sudanese females in the U.S. or in Europe in general. So what is it that you will say as a Sudanese woman have that considered to be a wall? Any of you?
I think, just from my perspective, I know one of the things for me is education. I'm educated. I have a master's degree. I have a job. I make a good living. And that seems to be a barrier for some because I'm like, my parents are not going to accept someone that is not college educated. And that seems to be like if I make a good living. Yeah, of course, if you make a good living, but we just know in America, it's hard to make a good living if you don't. Like if you're coming to my house and expecting my family to accept you without at least being at the same caliber as me, they're not going to.
So if a person have a 2-year degree and not really working in his field of graduate, maybe construction, maybe anything that can make $50,000 a year, is that eligible or is that it's not eligible?
في ناس هيبقوا بعد الكلام ده يعني هم يكونوا مثلا عشمانين شويه لكن
it's okay. Like take the time, do your thing, whatever you want.
What about you, Heidi? What do you think?
I agree with her. Like
It's not eligible with 50,000?
I mean, أنا يعني أهم حاجة عندي he has to have a college degree, not like a 4-year.
But college degree for men doesn't really always work the way you guys might think. So college degree for men, if a man went to college for a year or two, but he ended up working in the business that's paid pretty good money, he will end up leaving college if college is not his thing from the beginning. He will end up leaving college and focusing on
about educated or about
obtaining a certain
educated
income. Really?
It's for me. It's educated because
عندنا truck drivers يعني they make a lot of money.
They do make a lot of money. It's not about the money though. It's about the education. Because for me, I went to college. My mindset is going to be different. ممكن أجي مع زول he didn't even finish high school. He doesn't have the same mindset as me.
Does love play a factor in this?
Of course.
Okay. So what if you find a person, you fall in love with them, but he doesn't have that criteria?
He needs to have the same ambition as I do.
خليها كولج
No, my college degree is fine. I didn't say he has to have a master's degree. No, it doesn't have. It doesn't.
So
he doesn't
2
have to be a
years is
doctor.
fine. 2 years will pass.
2 years is fine as long as
2
you're
years
making a
pass.
living and you have this understanding.
So now I understand that you want the 2-year, maybe the 2-year minimum, right? So are you willing to stay at home? Are you willing to do henna, dukhan, and all the traditional stuff? And you go out there and make that?
Yes, I mean we
And
both have that understanding.
You're going to be a very obeying wife to him?
Yes, we have to obey our husbands. He has to obey us.
So I have a comment on that.
So we have to engage the man now.
There we go.
أنا يعني كزول جا هنا
You went back and went and got engaged from back in Saudi. So what is your reason that you couldn't find a wife here in America?
والله يا أخي هي قالت لك هسه أنا ما عندي ماستر ديجري ما عندي
ما قلت لك ما
She said 2 year. Yeah,
You have a
Lakin
4-year
na-
degree,
na-
but
na-
maybe not
na-
from the Western world.
Yeah.
شوف الرجل السوداني يعني
Traditional.
تراديشنال يعني زي ما بمصطلح العام كده بقول لك بجيجه يعني عرفت فنحن يعني مجتمعنا السوداني مجتمع ذكوري يعني عندنا يعني نظرتنا للمراه يعني المراه لازم تكون تحت الراجل يعني ما تكون فوق الراجل يعني
No, I agree with that. That's why I cannot be with somebody that is not everything.
فده اللي بنخاف منه هنا نحن يعني هنا البيت العايشه هنا يعني عايشه حسب السيستم هنا يعني المراه راجل يعني الراجل احتمال يكونوا بيتساوي يعني فاحنا ما عندنا المراه بتساوي الراجل اطلاقا فيلا بنخاف يعني بنخاف من الحاجات دي. يعني المرأة ممكن هنا يعني ما بتقدر تملي على حاجه، يعني ما بتقدر تجبر على حاجه. يعني لو قلت لك ما تمشي ناس امك حتقول لي يعني
Why, huh? What are you talking about, man?
لو قلت لك ما تطلع مع صاحبتك ما تمشي.
Yeah, this guy's crazy.
No, ma, let me say something one
فنحن
thing.
يعني الموضوع عندنا يعني يعني احنا عارفين المراه السودانيه وين ما كانت يعني بتمشي بالتراديشنال، يعني يعني في الحنه والحاجات دي بتمشي بها. بالعكس يعني بشوفها حلوه. يعني هسه حضرنا مناسبات هنا كثير يعني ما شاء الله بنات بيلبسوا ثياب في
But
المناسبات.
I mentioned the listening. Are you willing to listen to the max that he said? Not everybody will ask for that kind of control, but that's literally how it is for some men that I know personally.
Yeah, ما في فهم. That's what I'm trying to say. I need somebody to understand me. أنا كنت قلت لها like if I see you in my eyes, you're my leader, you're my husband. كنت قلت لها ما تمشي أنا ما بمشي بس that's it. But like you're saying like
this is all on video. This is all on video.
That's why we're saying we need somebody at our caliber. We need somebody that is, and there is some. ما زول جاي من السودان ومبارح ما he might be college educated. He could be a doctor in Sudan. نحن ما قلنا like we can't marry him. It's just like he needs to have that same faham that you're marrying an American woman. She is raised in America. She is having all these, you know, and that's what
انا
it
ده
is.
السبب اللي خلاني انه انا مثلا اختار يعني عشان ما ادخل نفسي في صراعات. انا عارف انه انا التقاليد والعادات اللي جاي بيها وعارف التقاليد والعادات اللي قاموا عليها البنات هنا. فيعني عشان ما يكون في بعدين صراع في مشاكل.
I understand your point of view. However, Suleiman did disagree with everybody completely.
you can tell that from my face, right?
Yes, he disagreed. Suleiman said that too much masculine energy.
I know.
There's too much masculine energy in Western women.
And not that,
Western
and
Sudanese
that's
women.
not all. Hayat Tani, I think to be a man, to lead the house, to lead your family, you don't need college degree for that.
You don't.
And most of us here, our parents did not have 4 years degree or
that's
master
true.
degree, but
That's
you know
true.
we were raised well.
Yeah.
Or,
Alhamdulillah.
they did everything they could.
Yeah.
عشان كده I think this right here, that's why we always run home and bring.
That makes sense. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
أنا شايف إنه يعني الرجال مرات بيكون في how much disciplined the man is, how respectful they are, and how understanding they are, and how fast they adapt to the situation they are in. راجل السوداني مثلا الحياة في السودان and here in America is different.
Completely, yeah.
But some things that you cannot compromise.
That's true.
When it comes to religion, when it comes to what you wear,
That's true.
and especially for our wives and our daughters, these things we cannot. I mean, وفي حاجة تانية مثلا equality. Yes, I mean we all agree that men and women should get paid equally and everything. But when it comes in the house, I'm the leader.
That's it.
I don't want anybody to come to me and
second guess already. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So in that case, I think that's why most of the men here, what I think, I mean, I don't care if it's right or wrong, but most men, they don't want to be, like they have somebody in the house that compete with them. Competition in the house. It's not gonna go far.
I agree.
Yeah. But so sometimes women, they don't think it's competition, but men can
think,
That's true.
think that's the way.
ايوه هم بالنسبه لهم ده العادي يعني.
Very competitive by
Very,
nature.
yep. Yeah. And the other thing, most of women here, they want to get college degree and all that, and then after that, they want to get married.
True.
I mean,
The more you stay in college, the more you stay studying, the value depreciate.
Why is that?
Well, because
Some hot water, didn't you, huh?
Please, I have a few questions.
So
I think you need to stop for that.
yeah, I don't have my cup yet.
Yeah.
Let me get water real quick.
Please elaborate to us.
Before you do, let's take a quick little break, okay?
So
let's take a
Michael,
quick little break. All right, before we took a break, man, our co-host here put himself in a hot seat. So I'd like Ms. Hiba to go ahead and ask him the question again, and we'll continue on from there.
Yeah, so you said that the longer women stay in college, they value depreciates.
Yes.
Elaborate.
And I can stand behind that. So it takes, what, 4 years to get a 4-year college degree, right? Started at 18. At that point, you're like almost 25, right? Not everybody finish in the 4 years. Some people push it to 5 to 6 years. So we're already talking 26, 27. You're looking for a career job for the next 2 years because you're really not looking for a husband right away, especially if you're in America. You went to college. You kind of want to test your education. So you went to looking for a career job for the next 2 years. You got a job. You might feel comfortable in the job and you might not. However, you've wasted another 3 years. So we're already pushing 30. Most men really looking for a wife that I personally speaking to. I mean, I'm talking from experience. And I asked why, by the way. They looking for 21, maybe max 23.
Okay, why is that?
And it's just a man desire for their own. It's like how woman is looking for a husband that can lead and protect and be guidance in the house. A man is not looking for a educated woman who is 30 years old. He's looking for, that's just our desire, just as much as the woman is looking
our
for
desire
protective.
is the protection, the da-da-da. 30 is not, what's the reason why? Because this man can be 21 or he could be 42. We don't know.
The man, whether he's 42, whether he's 21, normally 21's men are not ready to get married. We have a couple of 21. They're not ready.
نحن غايته الناس الجايين لكم يعني غير يعني ودي اتذكر نقطه انه البيت هنا لازم تخلص وتحصل بتاع. فاحنا برضه عندنا اعتقاد انه يعني البيت كل ما كانت صغيره كل ما انت حتربيها عليها.
Being filtered.
كل ما
Okay, see,
حتربيها
that's an
يعني.
answer. Okay.
عرفت يعني حتخليها يعني تمشي بالسيستم اللي انت
الطباع بتاعتك تطبيع على الطباع بتاعتك.
يعني ممكن في زول هنا يكون داير عرس يعني خلاص جه هنا واقتنع فبيكون داير عرس بيت عمره مثلا 18 مثلا هو كنت وانا سمع 25 23 فبيكون داير بيت عمره مثلا 18 17 او 16.
Yeah, it's crazy how the age actually
يعني
goes.
حتى يعني حتى ما
But I haven't seen one that says 16 yet, but I did see someone that says. Most of the people I spoke to, they said 21, 23 max. So the younger she is.
ما مقاطعة في نفس الوقت يعني الراجل لما يتعلم برضه ويصل لمرحلة معينة من التعليم فبرضه بيفتش للبيت اللي بتكون
max 25
اللي بتكون قريبه منه يعني هي بتكون قريبه منه
max 25
في المستوى العلمي ذاته بقول لك مثلا انت دكتور ممكن تعرف بيت مثلا
unless he's really old at that point unless he's like 48 47 he doesn't want no 25 he want like 27 and 30
لا يعني مثلا يكون الفرق يعني مثلا 5 years في ناس 3 years
it's not a lot that's not common
But the other thing,
it's not a standard but
it's not common. We're talking about what's common and I thought this was a crazy idea personally. I thought it was a crazy idea for you to go that young. But then when I did the study and I thought about it, to some extent for those men who requested at that age, to me it made sense. And one of my friends, he's married to a woman, I'm sure she's between 23 to 25, I'm not sure. With his personality, it makes total sense.
How old he is?
I think he's maybe 35, the same age as me, 35, 36.
Really?
Yeah. So he's married to 23 to 25, I think, between 23 and 25. But for his personality, it makes complete sense. However, 23, 25 in Sudan, she have already graduated. Either she had a 2-year degree. Normally in Sudan, they don't go for 6-7 years education. They go for the 2-year degree because they all graduating to be a wife more than graduating to become this or that. Not all of them. I think now the new school thinking, a lot of mothers went through so much problems in life with their husbands. Now they actually encouraging their daughters to become doctor, nurse, or something. They tell her to have an education before she get married. But they will push the marriage. If the marriage is very serious, they will push the marriage first.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say because it's not all of us. Like if I got married at 21, I'd be okay. It's fine.
So the
it's
majority,
not all of us. It's just
the majority are going for the young age, and the young age for them is for him to raise her to his not a standard. I don't want to say standard. What's it called? To his system. You know what I mean? Whether or not he's a controllee, whether or not a lot of people might consider that's narcissistic and he's a controllee. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, in a culture, Sudanese culture is to marry and have kids. It's never a culture.
Right, yeah.
It's never a culture of love.
Yeah.
If you look back to your mom, to your dad, to your grandma and grandpa, no. It's a culture to get married and have kids.
No, like,
It's a culture to get married and have kids. You need to do the research. It's not a culture of love.
Well,
يعني كيف
the
يعني
way we show our love is different.
It's different, yeah.
different,
But because there is so much, like 80% of the older generation, they married by traditional marriage, which is someone find a wife for you, which is your mom or your dad, and saying you getting married to this person. العقد حقك يوم كده is done. You're gonna do it.
And me
The
and
older generation. We're not
many
talking
people,
about the new generation.
right? So many people, including me, I believe the real love comes after you get married.
After, right?
After you get
But at that point, you already saw the another sharia. You liked her.
Well, exactly. So,
Yeah, right?
so because our tradition and our religion,
Yeah.
it's like in Sudan, you cannot date for a couple of years.
Yeah, you
and
cannot.
all that.
Trying to explore and all
so
that.
you'll never get to know her like the real her until you get married
Until
to her.
you-
You move into the
لا
same
لا
house
ده كان
and all
زمان
that.
ده كان زمان هسه زمان هسه
Right.
الناس بيكونوا بيحبوا بعض فتره
Yeah.
There is, but it's not.
بيكونوا
It's
بيدرسوا
not.
فترة مع بعض
It's not the same
It's not
kind of
the
love
80%.
as here.
Yeah,
Umar,
it's not.
look, there is all kind of people doing all kind of
But you
things.
cannot do it
they're
openly.
not. But
No,
they're not
no,
the
come on.
80% of the population. We're talking generally right now. We don't want to talk about the 1% that fall in love and they got married for the next 20
لا
years.
طبعا بتحصل يعني
So we're talking about
هي نسبه بسيطه
Can we go back to the college thing because we didn't say our perspective or what
for
we
sure.
wanted to
So
say.
go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so going back to that, you're saying that women, stay longer in college.
In America, Western
in
world,
America, right?
yes.
Right. I mean, I have cousins that graduated, they're doctors, engineers, all of that too in Sudan, and they're married. What I'm trying to say is, it's not all of us. We're not all like, we want to get our college education and then get married. We want to be like in a career, da 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 da. Like personally, from my experience, from my perspective, I would have been fine married at 21, 22, whatever age was acceptable for the men.
Just marriage never presented itself.
It never presented itself because of the idea that they had on me as a college woman, as a
Gotcha.
college Sudanese raised in America woman. And that's fine. But obviously there are men that do want that. I've met some in like Sudanese men that do want American raised woman that exists, but not as much. But I was going back to, it's not a, no, we don't want that, of course, but we go back to our parents. Our parents brought us here because they want us to seek an education. They want us to go. So they're pushing us to go get a college degree, go do this, get a job and everything. Like I did that. I went to college. I even did my master's. I have a good carear. I did all of that. And then my dad is like, when I graduated college, Hiba, هتعرسي بتاني. Wow. All this
So
time.
now I gotta go look for the husband.
Yeah, he's like, you're done with college now. You gotta get married. You have a job. And I was like,
عندك لو جو العريس
I never thought about that because you over here pushing me to go do all of this
I
stuff.
think I wasted a couple of good years. Not gonna be looking for that husband.
Right. So it comes back to that. It comes back to our parents, the reason why they came here. And then I'm the only daughter in my household. So they're waiting for my wedding. They don't care about my brothers. They're like, we're ready for you to get married. And it's just like, okay, like, you came here, you wanted to see all this stuff, we did it. Now you're like, oh, get married. And then all the Sudanese men are like, nah, you're too old. You college educated. We don't want you.
Yeah, they're
Why
afraid
should
of
we?
a college educated.
طيب
They
ايوه
don't
معناته
want-
يعني معناته دي رساله للبيرنتس هنا انه
don't push for
يعني
education to be
ايوه
a number
يعني
one.
ادوا حته انه البنت تتزوج يعني ادوها على
Make
الاقل خلاها
it-
50-50 يعني
Yeah, make
يعني
it a
اذا جاك
little
عريس
more.
ممكن تعرس وتواصل قرايه عادي.
Yeah, you can always go to
Yeah,
school.
Yeah, and that's fine. We're okay with
But
that.
there's a real challenge you guys are not addressing.
1 second.
Before you say your part, because
She haven't won it.
All right,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Heidi.
أنا بالنسبة لي يعني أنا أهلي بالذات أهلوين ما عندنا بتعرس بدون شهادة. لو هي ما تخرجت من الجامعة عادي ممكن خطوبة في النص لكن بعد تخرج عادي ممكن أعرس يعني if I want to نحن ناس كده that's what I grew up.
ده حتى في السودان
But the
حتى في
2-year
السودان.
degree في السودان.
في السودان is عادي.
Most of the 80% of the people they go for the 2-year degree.
Yeah.
One, because it's so expensive to go to college. A lot of families don't have
Here?
the money in Sudan. And then some of the people who have money, they do send their kids for a 4-year nursing or becoming a doctor. I can't really think of any other field other than engineering, nursing, and doctor.
I agree 100%. لكن أنا بالنسبة لي the way I was like أهلي even my mom يعني she graduated 4 years with her bachelor's and she even went back to get her master's in psychology يعني في الأحفاد وقرأت ما خلصت
Was she married or was she still?
Yeah اتخطبت and then she went to school عادي. يعني ما عندنا مشكلة. Like if you just still have to continue your قرايتك.
بتعتمد على الراجل يعني في راجل
في رجال
ترى ممكن انا يعني انا متزوج ومرتي تكون في الجامعه يعني اجي من الشغل القى زوجتي في الجامعه.
So from your perspective, Heidi, what do you see the lack of what you call of men in the Western world يعني يتقدموا ل any bachelors like yourself here? Like what do you see the lack of what is it the responsibility? You guys don't think they have the job to ask for the hand in marriage?
It's not even like a job. أنت يعني I'm very flexible about the degree as long as you have a job and يعني you're able to provide for me. I think that's fine with me.
Truck driver is fine.
ده الكلام كده.
Truck drivers they have a bad reputation. It's not even about the job; it's their reputation. Okay.
I think they heard about the lost lizard.
We heard about a few of them.
So truck drivers.
That's exactly what it is.
So truck drivers at this point they have to go to Sudan and find a wife. We're fine with that. There's other
They can
careers.
find them a way.
انا عندي لهم سؤال.
Sulaiman wants to go.
عندي لهم سؤال.
Wait, so Sulaiman's gonna go real quick, but before we do, let's take a quick little break. Sulaiman, go ahead. Continue on,
so
please.
yeah, so that's the point, and you know, like the family being there for their daughter, it makes a huge difference. The
So
other
you think the entire family being as a support to that daughter could eventually influence that man to make the right decision?
Exactly.
Not to deceive the family.
That's true. That's exactly what I'm saying. And the other thing, the final thing I'm going to add on that is when the man comes here, it's very hard for the man to accept the reality that the woman has been here longer than him. The woman knows more than him.
Yeah.
She's
So
responsible
so he
until
feels
they get a
now
job.
he feels like the woman is the leader in the house and he's just a follower. And he just couldn't accept that.
It hits his pride.
Exactly.
It hits his pride,
So a lot of problems comes up, and we're gonna add salt to the wound on that is that as a Sudanese we don't believe in
Therapy.
That's true.
Thank you.
لكن هي المرأة يعني هي المرأة يعني الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم نحن قدوتنا كان شغال مع السيدة خديجة وزوجها وكان عامل عندها يعني.
ده الرسول عليه الصلاة
ما هو قدوة بالنسبة لنا يعني.
We gotta look up to our
It's a curvy road out there.
So I mean, this is different because this is a fresh man that's fresh out of boats.
FOB.
They just come from Sudan right now. Like
They're not okay with that.
they're not okay with
Whoa.
exactly. So imagine when you come here and the woman making more than you. She drives. You don't drive. You can't go anywhere without her driving you.
Yeah.
She's paying the bills. She's paying the rent.
Until you get on that horse. and start
Exactly.
paying.
So it's like you're there. Like you feel like you're useless in the house.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's a huge problem there.
So let's get like to the solution. What do you guys think the solution would be? As far as like trying to, I think build the community. I think that's a good start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Build the
Because
community.
you know we have youth that are pretty much lost. You know what I mean? And I feel like we need to kind of get these guys together and kind of show them the traditional ways and show them the ways of like just Sudan in general. You know what I mean? So that way they can like interact with each other. And so even if the time comes that they go to Sudan and get married, that's still not a problem. You know, they still have that value inside of them. But what do you guys think a solution would be as far as like getting the community together in general?
And also just to add to what he says, problem number one is young men not really finding or not seeing those women in America as a candidate, a future candidate for themselves. You keep going back to Sudan, you're looking for a wife. And problem number two is that women also go back to Sudan or go back to any country that have Sudanese men in it to get married and bring the husband here and not lost for 1 year and that guy possibly have a plan B. So we can try to see how can we put a solution to problem number one
Before-
and that could eventually fix problem number two.
I want to ask this because I'm sure you guys can all relate to this. When I was growing up, the Sudanese community was pretty good, but it still has some issues where families would, let's say, beef with each other. And so now this parent tells their kids not to hang out with this kid. You know what I mean? So how can you bring the community together if the parents are involved saying, hey, don't go to this or don't go hang out with this guy? You know
I had that growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very tough.
انا لغايه جيت لقيتكم البيف شغال مدور.
البيف شغال.
انا لو كنت البيف كم مدور.
Yeah, you came in the worst time.
طيب نرجع لتصورنا نحن كشباب
جداد.
جايين جداد هنا امريكا. نحن بقينا هسي يعني ونسي مع الشباب وكده، وفي يعني في سنجل شباب كثيره يعني شايفين انه تو ماتش هذيك انه تعرس واحده من السودان حتمشي تعرس هناك، هم برضه بيكونوا عشمانين فيك، زول جاي من امريكا وكده، فالعرس بيكون مكلف شديد. اضافه لانه عشان تجي هنا دايركت 2 years والله احيانا 3 سنين عشان تجي هنا اضطرت تجي. فبقينا بنفضل انه الواحد بيقول لك انا لو لقيت البيت المناسبه هنا انا ما عندي مشكله اني ازوج من هنا. المناسبه كيف؟ يعني البنات يعني خليكم سودانيات، يعني خلوا جواكم سوداني، يعني حتى في لما تجوا بتاع يعني حاولوا تظهروا الطباع السودانيه اكثر. الاسر ذاته يحاولوا يربوا البنات على الطباع السودانيه، يعني ما يفرحوا باللغه والتعليم والحياه اللي بيكتسبوها هنا، وينسوا برضه الجانب بتاع الزواج ده، لانه مهم جدا. احنا صراحه ما بنعد البيت لتعليمه شنو، احنا معانا البيت هل هي سودانيه ولا ما سودانيه.
طيب
يعني سودانيه مش في شكلها، في شكل ما يعني ما شاء الله البنات كلهم جميلات
طبعا،
لكن يعني في طبعها في سودانيه، في احترام للراجل، يعني في نقاش ذاته. حتى لما نكون مثلا قاعدين مجتمع، لما نشوف البيت صوتها اعلى من الراجل وما عنده كده وبتاع، بيقول الله دي والله ما بتنفع تكون مثلا يا فادي.
so pay attention. الناس اللي قاعدين كده هنا يكشفوا.
ايوه بيكشفوا والله، يعني بيفكر الناس بقت يفكر، يعني الواحد 80% بيفكر انه يتزوج من هنا. فبقت الناس بتفتش.
Another thing is, okay, so the gathering is normally men's on site, women on site. There is really not much interaction of salam alaikum, akhbarik, getting to know the person. So does that mean future-wise we should suggest that youth should meet up to have a decent conversation, maybe drink some tea, and to share ideas, to see what your future goals and ideas are. Let me finish. To see what your future goals and ideas are. Maybe that will put us into similar mind like I think like you think like me, or maybe we're going towards the same engineering degree, or we're going towards the same goals and things like that. And that at that point we engage with each other so much. I don't even have to like the person I'm talking to. I could see someone else in the room is talking to someone else that I could like, and I want to go to their parents and see if I can ask their hand in marriage. With that, maybe drive this situation and change the perspective of the Sudanese from going back and actually meeting women here in America.
ايوه صح، ممكن اكيد.
So they need more basically meaning that's driven from a workshop perspective.
لانه انا برضو اتكلمت مع واحد من الاثنين هم بالحقيقه من الشباب اللي ربوا هنا اتولدوا هنا يعني. يعني هم اهلهم دايرينهم عرسوا من
السودان،
وخايفين برضه من الكالتشر والثقافه. يعني هم they don't even يعني ما بيتكلموا عربي ذاته كويس، فبقول لك انا حيجي لي واحده من السودان وانا ما بعرف اتكلم صح، لكن ما قادرين يقولوا لاهلهم لا احنا.
You know what's my biggest problem? My biggest problem was finding someone who can't really talk, like text me in English.
Exactly, and نحن ما نقدر.
That's my problem. And they don't know how to communicate, man. They suck at communicating. They don't know how to text, and we came from a culture like everything is texting. So not only that they don't know how to text, now are they going to be able to text English? And if they do know a little bit of English, that conversation is going to be boring because we have to flirt in these text messages.
ايوه فيلا يعني الشباب ده اللي احنا زي ما انت قلت هسه لازم يكون في حاجه بتجمعهم مع بعض، يعني يتعرفوا على بعض اكثر. ايوه لانهم حابين يتزوجوا من هنا.
لكن ما في تعارف،
ما شايفين واهلهم شايفين انه احسن، يعني احسن يتزوجوا من هناك. عرفت؟
ما في تعارف. انا كيف بدي انا قاعد اشوف
المشكله حلها يعني حلها ما في الشباب بس، حلها في الشباب، حلها في الاسر،
حلها في الاسر
فينا احنا ككوميونتي. ايوه
حلها
في الاسر يعني needs to be open minded a little bit to the point that we need to have a workshop month, a workshop month, maybe twice a month that have honestly we can نقدر نستفيد من بعض. You know what I'm saying? You never know what workshop, what career you're in that she could benefit from it. You don't know what I'm doing that he could benefit from it, and not only now we know each other, now I can actually benefit from you, and we can even find a future, I don't know, business or anything like that, and that will be helpful. That can even solve the problem
بطريقه غير مباشره.
ايوه بطريقه مباشره تخلي الناس اللي بيمشوا النسوان يمشوا يعرسوا من هناك ده they could come to this workshop and find somebody here.
والله ان شاء الله نتمنى ذلك. فيعني الورك شوب ما ضروري تكون تعالوا عشان تعرسوا بعض.
Yeah.
هي ما كده، لكن العرس ده من الناس خلاص انا مثلا لقيت هبه دي مرتين ثلاثه، لقيت هاي دي شافتني بتاع، يعني بتحس انه شويه ممكن يعني
We'll have to discuss
يعني بيجي منها كده بقول لك.
We'll have to discuss common goals in this
أيوة.
workshop. This
أيوة.
workshop is all about common goals.
Yeah.
Like what career you're in, what college you goes to, what are you trying to do in the future. You basically present yourself. And then we'll see like who else and it could be like actually fun things, you know what I mean? Like in this workshop. But let's get their opinion on this matter.
I think one solution, I like what you said. Community needs to come together. I talked about earlier, like you said that when the community gathered, you did not come to the gatherings. We don't know you exist. You don't know we exist. That's a problem. So then you're looking for someone else that you're hanging out around. That's the problem. Right. So, and then we talked about the kids not wanting to marry at all, just period. Because they don't, like that's, when we're growing up, like I said, our parents are pushing onto us, education, get a good job, it's the freedom in America, they're not pushing us to go have babies and go, sit in the home. They're just not. That's just how it is. And تربية مفروض تكون especially for women, you need to raise a home. You need to be able to raise a home. We need to teach you this. Because I have a lot of friends, they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to clean, they don't do nothing.
I was just going to bring that up.
There's stuff like that. And I'm just like, how are you raised in a house like that? Like, you know what I mean? So like...
ما قعدت نحن رجال بنتباهى بطبخ نسوان، يعني بتاع مثلا نعزي مع اصحابي كده وقال يا زوجتي عملت كده وتملى السفره وبتاع.
Exactly.
What do you think, Heidi?
No, I definitely agree with her. يعني yeah, I agree with you 100%.
بس agree خلاص كده وخلاص عادي.
لكن أنا شايفة this idea it's a great idea ويعني ما حاجة يعني أهلنا our family sometimes they're not very open-minded. دي ما حاجة عيب يعني حاجة it's very normal. عشان في بنات هنا ولا خاتين ببالهم إنه الشباب هنا خاتين الأفكار دي في راسهم. They don't even.
Oh, there's a lot of new guys they want to get married. They constantly searching for a wife.
والله قاعدين نفتش.
Constantly.
But
they're not searching here.
Like, no, you're educated.
Yeah, so they're not looking at this forever. Yeah. So انت برايك قلت ده الزول.
الشروط زي واحد يقول لك قول لي وانا والله.
Truck
Okay,
driver.
I'm gonna tell you something why I can't. No, like why I can't.
I'm bringing a truck driver. That's it.
I cannot be head of a household. I cannot be leading my household. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So I need somebody على مني. I can't have somebody under me. He's not gonna want me. حديد كده. He's gonna hate me. He's gonna compete with me. ما حيجي.
I'm very flexible with the college thing. انت as long as you're شغال شغل كويس and you're able to provide for me and you're a good person. ما عندي مشكلة.
ممتاز.
شفت هايدي هيد دانيال كده
There's no truck driver.
هايدي شفت solve all the problems. أما هي اللي نجيبك تاني في حلقة عشان نقدر نشوف لك الزوج قاعد تتكلم عنه ده.
They're here.
I am not saying they're not. I am not
They
saying
just go marry خواجات مش عرس لنا من وين قاعدين.
لأي زول عنده a person is gonna match their personality.
Agreed. I think so.
And inshallah, I wish nothing but the best, and I hope that we start talking about
I
solutions.
didn't add my part.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
البارت حقه دايما بيقول انا
يا مختلف.
Yeah, because because as Sudanese we have a lot of issues, and if you fix one issue and you didn't fix the other issue, we didn't do anything basically.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think I hear all you said, but في حاجة مهمة برضو. Again, you guys leave it behind. اللي هو العنصرية. زي ما قلت لكم هنا الكوميونتي بتاعنا المشاكل اللي هسه قلت لك كلها قاعدة دي كلها جزء من الحلول. لكن برضو المشكلة الأكبر اللي هو مواجه الكوميونتي بتاعنا كسودانيس اللي هو العنصرية واللي هو مثلا يعني ما عندنا الاختلاطات يعني ما عندنا زواج من بيناتنا يعني من الزخاوي من الفوراوي من الشايقي من الجالي ما في تداخل زي ده ونحن كسودانيين نحن دائما لما نلقى واحد سوداني يتزوج من دول اجنبيه ما شاء الله هذا تحسين النسل وما شاء الله وكاتبوا في شيخ منو لو بيقولوا كده
لا كاتبني من دي لو كان يعني من نفس سوداني من قبيله مختلفه سوداني من
ايوه اكزاكتلي
يعني
وفي نفس الوقت لما تلقى واحد مثلا من اي بقعه في الغرب ولا في الجنوب مزوج واحد من الشرق ولا من الشمال لما تمشي في التعليقات تلقى يعني كلام تعليقات مقبوله لان انا بقرا لانه التعليقات بوريك
How people think.
ناس
Yeah.
الناس بيفكروا كيف فعلا كده.
اطلع من
ده الموضوع انا شايفه. فعشان كده نحن لازم يعني ننبذ العنصريه من جوانا ونخسر من جوانا ونقدر نعيش نحن كسودانيين اكثر من انه كقبائل.
بس والله ما
مفرقة.
الزواج احيانا بتجي كده يعني مثلا انا ما بكون انا محدد انه انا داير زوج من القبيله لكن خلاص انت لقيت البيت بعدها ممكن تشوفها.
But the problem is our family too. It's not just us. They're
So
gonna have input.
realistically speaking, as beautiful as all this might sound يا عمر، انت ما داير ما عارف من وين ما من وين. شوف الناس دي العنصريين، العنصريه دي في عروقهم هنا لسه ما طلعت بالمناسبه. نحن الوحيدين اللي grew up here ولا اللي انتوا جيتوا يانج من هناك لهنا ما اخذت لها too much attention. لكن السودان ده اصلا يتفكك عشان العنصريه.
صح
تفكك في الكيك عشان
في
العنصريه.
حاجه هنا في امريكا لاقتني. في السودان انا ما لاقتني، ما حصل اليوم في الايام انا في السودان سؤال تسالني يعني انت قبيلتك شنو، لكن تجي هنا السلام عليكم كيف اخبارك انت وين من السودان، وين في السودان.
صح
حاجه غريبه شديد والله.
دي المشكله بتاعت الناس اللي جو هنا باللوتري والناس اللي جو بشنو. وانا شفتها كثير في ناس اللوتري. احنا جينا لاجئين ديل خشينا دول تانية وضربنا في دماغنا وجينا هنا زول مستسلمين عاوزين بس حياه جديده. وما ضروري فيها منو جنبك منو جارك مسلم مسيحي كافر، ما ضروري، بس داير تقرا وتشتغل عشان بكره تمشي تتزوج. لكن الناس اللي جنب اللوتري ديل بيقول لك انا كنت شغال محامي هناك وانا هناك وبتاع وضاق شنطه. ايوه الناس ديل بالمناسبه جايين بالعنصريه. انا ما حقول الناس ديل منو ولا هم. بالمناسبه ما في كنساس سيتي بس ولا في تكساس ولا في نيويورك ولا في فيرجينيا، الناس ديل في جميع الولايات. فنتمنى انه هم at some point يدوا الفرصه لليانج because هم مضيعين الفرصه للناس البنات اليانج والرجال الاولاد اليانج عشان يقدروا يتزوجوا في الفيوتشر. هم قاعدين في النص زي شوكة الحوت زي ما بقول. لكن للشباب ما في احلى واجمل واحسن من البنت السودانيه.
ما في والله صح.
ما حتلقى
ولا النسايب السودانيين عرفتها.
ما حتلقى نهائي. انا
Yeah, we're gonna close it off. We're gonna close it off the right way. We're gonna close it off the right way, yeah. But no, like I was saying, like for me personally, when I went to college, I was focused in college, you know? I wasn't really necessarily thinking about marriage or any of that stuff. But the one thing is I knew when I was growing up, I wanted to marry a Sudanese. I knew that like deep down my heart and everything, you know? I was Zaidan Ibrahim. Yeah, that was my yeah.
مين علمك يا فراج؟
But yeah, man, I had that mentality in my head the whole time. But like you know, when I went to college and I was experiencing that as college itself, the opportunity came. I met this, lady, my beautiful wife. I met her there. She played basketball. I played basketball, and we just connected. But really, what set it off for me was how close she was with her family and how her parents treated her and her, siblings. That was it for me. Yeah, it was really similar to what I grew up. You know what I mean? Yeah, Gariba she did. Yeah, and that's the best thing. Like you'll if you're looking for that, you gotta see how the family treats the kids, and you gotta see how they interact with each other. You know what I mean?
You know what? That's something I never thought about before I married a Sudanese woman. The relationship between you and her parents is very important.
100%.
The relationship between you and her family, it's a very important. And as just an American mentality, you never think about that. You don't. You know what I'm saying? You just think your lady and she's with me.
They think you're marrying the woman, not the family.
Yeah, once I changed my mindset, once I really wanted a Sudanese, honestly, one of my checklists is to make sure that I have a better relationship with their family than my previous one. If there is no good relationship with the family, I don't want the marriage.
You got to understand too, what that does is it's a mental thing for the children as well when they grow up. If they see that this is a healthy relationship and they see you interacting well with the grandparents and you know what I mean, the stepmom and all that stuff, they're going to want that for you as well too. Later on when they grow up, they're going to bring you somebody that's going to be good with you guys. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very vital that, when you are looking for a partner, you got to see how their relationship within the family, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, man, this wraps up this wraps it up for us today. I really appreciate you guys all for coming.
Thanks for having us.
One thing I do want to add on though, Hiba, you do have what is it called, bachur, right?
Yes,
do you want to plug yourself in real quick?
Yeah, so me and my mother, we have a company called Al-Waha Bakhur, and we make bakhur. We also make makhmuriya as well. If you do want any, just hit me up. My Instagram is at HIBAMM8.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. Anybody else want to add on? Mr. Suleiman, come on. I know you got something, no? Bro,
Suleiman always disagree.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I want to plug something else.
Go ahead.
Okay, I want to plug something else. As you guys know, well, maybe you don't. I run track and field.
Hey.
I am 200, 400 runner. I do run for Sudan currently.
Represent.
Hiba Saeed is my name. I am the national record holder in the 200, so you can look me up.
Shout out to you.
Beautiful.
And love the sport.
Love it. I love it. I appreciate every single one of you guys for joining us today.
Thank you for coming out today.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
يا وطني يا بلد أحبابي